Hi, my name is Jen, and I just got back yesterday from a 10-day trip to Iceland in the month of June, and I wanted to share my unpacking video because I made a video right before I left of everything I packed, everything I took with me. You can watch that video here first if that's helpful for you, if you're packing for your own trip to Iceland. But I wanted to share everything I used, everything I didn't use, things I might have wished that I had on my trip to Iceland in case it's helpful when you're preparing for your trip, especially if it's a summer trip. Although we encountered some unexpected weather. I did not anticipate hiking in full snow. Like, we had a snowstorm and then we hiked on a mountain that was covered in full snow in June. You never know in Iceland what the weather's gonna do. Even if you check the weather forecast the day before, you just never know. So it's great to be prepared for everything. Let's get into what I brought with me and everything I brought home from my 10-day trip to Iceland. Okay, right on top here is my travel day outfit that I wore on the plane home. I also wore these pants every day in Reykjavik, so like 4 separate days, plus these are my travel pants on the flight there. And I wore this sweatshirt many times during the trip as just a cozy layer, as a hangout, like at nighttime, cozy sweatshirt. And so I wore these a lot, and I'm so glad I had that sweatshirt. This was one I wasn't sure I was gonna bring because it's kind of bulky, but I wore it so much and it was so cozy and nice, and I'm really glad I had it with me. Then I have a bag of, I think, dirty clothes. I think this might be mostly underwear and socks that were like some things I re-wore a lot, but some things when they reach their point of no return, I put them in this bag. And so yeah, this is like socks. I'm not gonna dump it all out, but this is all socks and underwear and a couple of t-shirts. And yeah, this kind of contains it and it makes it easy to just dump it into the wash. And so I think I have another dirty bag of clothes in the other suitcase, but that's just kind of how it happened. This was my toiletry bag. I used everything in here almost till it was gone. And there was a couple things like a shampoo that I left that I threw away when I was done because everything kind of just lasted exactly that 10 days. And then let's see what's in here. This is my tech bag. So this is my GoPro that I keep in a sunglasses case, which I need to download all the videos from this. And then a little tripod thing that you can get, like the GoPro can go in the water, and this is like a floaty tripod to hold it if you need it, but I just sometimes hold the camera without that. The little backpack strap that holds my GoPro to my backpack, and another little tripod thing, and a Bagu. So that actually made sense in that bag. Some of these do not make sense. I don't know what, I just threw things in at the end, you know how you do. This is my puffer coat that I wore constantly, and it saved my life when it got really cold. It's the Fuego down jacket from Cotopaxi, and I love this jacket. It was the perfect, it's lightweight, it packs down to nothing. It's packed up in this little cube from Bagu. It's very warm. It was the perfect layer, and I wore it probably every day, at least once. The weather changed a lot while we were there, and this is the first week in June, so I was there from June 4th to June 14th, and the weather changed a lot, and we went to the north part of Iceland, and then I did days down in the south part. I did Reykjavik, and I did a South Coast tour, so I was all over the place. The weather was all over the place, but we had really good luck with the weather, honestly. And so we did hit a snowstorm when we were north. Like, as we were driving, it was like a whiteout snowstorm. And we were up in the mountains, and we did have a full day of hiking where we were in snow, like hiking in snow, all around us, snow, everything white snow. So this jacket can like hang in really cold weather, freezing temperatures, but also it's a great layer when it's just windy and like in the 50s or 40s in Reykjavik when I'm running around, just going around the city. So this jacket really was the perfect thing, and I highly recommend this. And I live in Iowa, so I have winters where I will continue to wear this, and it's just like, it was the perfect thing. And I love the colors. Cotopaxi has like the coolest color combinations, and I'm a big fan of their stuff. I have a backpack that I love from them. I have one of these little hip packs that I also used I use this on hikes, and when I was wandering around, I could put like my wallet and my phone in it. I could put snacks in it. So I wore this a lot as well. I just emptied it out and threw it in here for packing when I came home. But big fan of this jacket. It really saved me in so many different ways. One item that I did not use, but I could have, but it's nice to have it in case you need it, is these boot gaiters that you can put over your pants and your boots to save you when it's wet, snowy, etc. If you're going through little rivers, if you're going through snow, if you're going through the tall, wet grass, these can save you. However, I didn't think of them on the day. I didn't really know what we were getting into the day that we went into the snow fully. Like I wasn't sure what it was going to be like up there, and then we found out. But these would have worked on that day. However, I wore my heaviest duty hiking pants that day that are very waterproof, and they have kind of a section of different fabric on the bottom that helps protect from moisture. And then I wore my best hiking boots that are tall that day, and those are very, very waterproof with Gore-Tex. That nothing gets through them. And we walked through slushy snow, wet grass, lots of water. We went through these little streams and stuff, and nothing made my socks wet that day. So luckily I didn't need these, but I could have worn them that day because we did go through a lot of stuff. I just wasn't aware of what we were actually doing that day. So never a bad thing. And they don't take up a lot of space. They're very flat. I would bring these again just in case, because you don't always know what you're getting into. And if it was raining the whole time, I probably would have worn these every day just for extra protection so your feet don't get cold and wet. Then I like to have bag options, and I love Bagu, and this is like my daily purse that I carry at home that I always have on me, and so I wore this all around Reykjavik and beyond. The only thing is I kept a pen in it, and the pen leaked, and I'm so sad. So I'm going to try to use some stain remover on this, and somehow the pen even leaked and it got onto the pants I was wearing that day, and so I hope I can get this out. But I love this bag, and it's my special yellow, and so I hope some stain remover will get it out. But I use this a lot on the trip, and I always do. I love Bagu. These I must have just thrown in there because I wore these on my last day in Iceland, and these are my rainproof pants. These are invaluable, and yes, I wore them, and yes, they kept me completely dry. I got these on super sale from a website called Out and Back that sells used hiking gear and things like that. The brand is Storm Creek, and you can find similar ones everywhere. They can go over your hiking pants, over your leggings, whatever you're wearing. They just kind of go right over the top, and they have like these, I mean, they're plastic, but they have these seams that don't let any moisture in. And so I went to the waterfalls on the South Coast tour on my last day, and this is what really saved me that day from being totally wet all day, because it was a 10.5-hour tour, and you don't want to sit on a bus in wet clothes. Like, it would be miserable. So these kept me completely dry. Even just on the walk back to the bus, there was like some wind, and they were perfectly dry by the time I got back on the bus. I just took them back off, and they fold into their own little pocket on the side. It's just a zipper pocket, and it folds right into itself right here. And so rain pants, definitely bring them. Don't hesitate to bring these. Invest in some. They're all over Amazon. I have a link to some of the things I bought below, or very similar things. Don't skip on the rain jacket and the rain pants. These saved my life in so many ways. Then we have some little pouches of different sorts. This one is empty. I brought some little souvenir gifts in this one for everybody on our little tour. This one was my snack bag, and I ate probably a whole box of granola bars on this trip in between tours, in between lunch and meal. And like when we're hiking, you really do kind of work up your hunger, and you need some little filler snacks, or at night before bed. And so I had a whole, these are kind of smushed now, but I had a whole package of these Kind bars that I love. These are the blueberry vanilla cashew ones. They're so good, and they're really like a good boost if you're kind of hungry. So I had 2 of those left. So I probably ate a whole box minus 2 during the 10 days, plus a Cliff bar that's also kind of smashed, but understandably so. So yeah, I ate most of the snacks I brought, and I recommend bringing snacks if you're doing these bus tours. If you're going hiking, you're gonna need some extra fuel for your body, and so bring snacks. They have grocery stores, they have Bonus, they have places to get snacks, but sometimes it's unfamiliar snacks or things that you're not sure exactly what's inside the packaging. They're all great because I tried a lot of snacks, but it's nice to have some snacks that are a little bit less expensive from home that you can rely on in a pinch. So that was my snack bag. I did bring my knitting neck light just in case I wanted to knit in the dark, and then I found out, yeah, that it really is like this sunny the whole time. The sun does not go down. It was pretty much never dark unless I was using blackout curtains and stuff like that. But I brought this just in case. I did not use it, but I could have maybe used it on the plane, but I slept on the plane. So this was my little tech bag to keep all my chargers and everything in here, and also my adapter that goes into the outlet into the wall that adapts the US, you know what I'm saying, plugs into the electricity. So I definitely use this a ton. It has a really nice little organizer for your cords. I love this thing. Like, it keeps them all in these little elastics, so you can find the little different plugs that go into the different things that you have to plug in. I love this thing, and I used it a lot. And then it had my phone pocket on the other side, and just, yeah, all this stuff went in here. And that was a nice way to keep it organized. Then this was like my medicine slash toiletry bag that I used quite a bit. I also brought like tea in here, and like tiger balm and sunscreen and things like that. So I definitely used this. It's kind of messy now, but it kept all my little things together. This was a little compression bag of bras and underwear, and I have to go through it because I think some of it was used and reused. I'm not totally sure, but this is bras and underwear and socks, I think. We luckily did not have a lot of rain. We had some rain while we were driving, like in the bus, but it didn't affect our outdoors hiking part. So I did bring this rain cover for my backpack, but luckily did not need it. But I would definitely tell you to bring it if you're hiking or doing anything outdoorsy. Have one of these just in case, because you don't want your whole contents of your backpack to get wet. Then I packed a few Bagu bags just to have on hand in case I went and got groceries somewhere, or yarn, or when we went to the geothermal pools. It was nice to have a little bag to put like your towel and your swimsuit in, and your clothes, and just kind of keep it separate so you could hang it up on their little pegs. So I use the Bagus a lot. Sunglasses, I definitely use these. These are from Sunski, and they have these little, it's like a visor on the side, and it really helps like when it's very bright or windy. So like my eyes water a lot, and these really helped that when we were out in the wind and the cold in the mountains. And so I definitely used the sunglasses. Our tour is called Knitting and Hiking Under the Midnight Sun. And so it is when the sun is very strong and the sun does not set. Like, there was a tiny bit of time at night where we would go outside to go look, because it would sort of be a sunset, but not even, like, it never got dark. And so sunglasses, yes, you needed them a lot. To go along with the sunglasses, you need an eye mask to sleep. And I used this every night as I was attempting to sleep when it looked like this outside, but it was really like midnight or 1 a.m. and you have to force yourself to try to go to sleep. This one is nice because it has little indents for your eyes, so you can kind of open your eyes and blink while you're, resting. And I don't know, it's really comfortable. I have the link below for Amazon. It was just like a $5 sleep mask, and I did use it every day. Next, in the guest houses, they ask you to please take off your shoes, and they want you to wear house slippers. So I had these Bombas slippers that I wore in our guest house, and they were perfect for that. They were cozy, and in the mornings and in the evenings, this is what I'd wear, in my pajamas or hanging out, and so I wore these a lot. This bag ended up being for my pajamas, and then I had several plain black t-shirts that I brought, and I wore them all over and over and over again. I think I had 3 black t-shirts that were all the same, and I just kept rotating them like every 3 days. And so this is probably all of that is going to need to be washed. And I brought a pair of shorts as pajamas as well that I wore. In Reykjavik, my room faced the sun, and it was really warm, and so I'm glad I had a pair of shorts. It can get really warm indoors, and you don't expect that, but I was glad I had a pair of shorts for that. And yeah, here's all the black t-shirts that I wore over and over. That's all I wore the whole time, pretty much indoors, and then I wore them as layers. And then I have my Smart Wool base layer pants that I also wore a lot. These all need to go into the wash. And then I had this base layer from half days that I wore for a couple of days that was really nice and warm. When it was colder, like when we were walking in the snow, this was the perfect thing to wear under all my layers that day. And so I was glad I had that. And yeah, it's just the black t-shirts that need to be washed. I had my trusty water bottle, and I definitely use this. It is nice because you can fill up your water from the tap in most places, and it's totally fine. And so I brought this everywhere and used this a ton, and it was always in my backpack. One thing I wore every single day that I was there is this Patagonia half zip fleece. It's actually my husband's, and I borrowed it and I took it. I'm so glad I did. It was the perfect layering piece for when we went outdoors. It was a perfect thing to wear inside. It doesn't smell. It really holds up day after day after day after day. It's also from Active Endeavors, which is our local outdoors shop. So thank you, Active Endeavors, because I got a lot of this stuff from you. But yeah, this was my husband's. I'm so glad he let me borrow it. Really all you need is one black or whatever your favorite color is fleece, and you're gonna be fine to rewear it. Like, these don't smell, they hold up really well. And I wore this probably 10 out of 10 days that I was there. So highly worth it, and not even a very bulky piece. It was just a very warm, well-made layering piece. This is my bag of socks, and a lot of these I re-wore several times and just rolled them back up if they were in good shape still, because wool socks do not smell and you can wear them over and over again. A lot of these are smart wool socks and Darn Tough. Those are my two favorites for wool socks, and yeah, they need to be washed now. But I re-wore these a lot, and I was very happy to have these cozy socks, you know, in my boots that kept my feet warm and dry, and it helps you keep comfortable in all weather. When they're merino wool, it really is like the magic of wool, and it keeps you comfortable all the time, and it's just well worth the investment. And for Darn Tough, this is the brand, I'm sure you've seen these, but Darn Tough socks come with a warranty that if you wear through them or have a hole, they will replace your socks. And so it's really nice. And these feel really good. They're very warm and very comfortable. And so I was very, very grateful for my socks. Don't skimp on the socks. Bring a pair for every day, but I did rewear these a lot because sometimes I would just change midday and get a fresh pair. But they really hold up. They really don't even smell, even though I wore these a lot through like major hikes, through water and snow and everything, waterfalls and tours, long days on the bus. They still don't stink at all, but I know they need to be washed in my mind. So I'm gonna get these all unrolled and put them in the washing machine. One little funny thing I did before I left, but I was glad I did it, is I had found some of these little tags in one of our junk drawers at home. And I realized a lot of these little packing cubes I use look the same, and I didn't know, I couldn't remember what was in each one. Especially like, you know, I have a sock one, and then I had this one that had like gloves and hats and everything in it. And so it was really smart that I just took a little minute to, you know, Sharpie a little tag on some of these that match and kind of help myself in the future. So this one has gloves, or it says that. I think I changed some of these around as I repacked, but this was like gloves and layers and hats, and I kept them together with a little thing like this, and headbands, like smart wool headbands. Sometimes I wore layers of these, like I'd wear a buff to keep my neck warm, or a little headband underneath a hat to keep my ears warm, because the wind is no joke. But this kind of kept all those little layers together. None of them are really big and thick and bulky, but I had like a smart wool pair of gloves. The smart wool buff I highly recommend, especially like waterfalls and all that stuff when you're getting really wet and it's windy. So I kept all that together, and then I also had some more socks in here. Later on, things just get mixed, you know, together. But more smart wool, these are the best. These smart wool that have like the crisscross pattern across the top are my favorite. And then the Darn Tough that have like all the beautiful, they're all like really cute little scenes that are just kind of fun to wear. But yeah, these need to be washed for sure. I think I wore some of these for 2 different days, and I don't even know, but yeah, and another pair of gloves. So I wore all this. If you think this is excessive, I used it all on different days, or I grabbed something and just, put a little package together of some warm accessories for whatever we were doing that day, because sometimes it would be really windy in the mountains and then it would get warm and you'd take it all off again. And it would just, it goes back and forth. Just bring it, be prepared, because you're going to use it. This little pouch was for my base layers. So I had a Smart Wool top and bottom long sleeve that I wore a lot. And then this was my second one. I had two of them and I was glad I had a backup, because these also can get wet, but they don't get sweaty. The wool really wicks your moisture and keeps you comfortable. This is my second set that I only wore once. I probably didn't need 2 sets, but I guess I did use them. But this is my Burton like snowboarding underlayer, but this can also work as pajamas. So it was kind of a good backup to have, or for just lounging around the house, like in the evening, it was nice to have this. One thing I did not use on this trip, but I was happy to have it just in case, was my trekking poles. I definitely could have used these on one of our big mountain hikes, but I didn't bring them. I thought I was going to be okay, and I was okay, but a lot of other people in my group had these, and so it's definitely something to bring just in case you might need a little extra traction or help getting down, especially the slippery mountains. And there was, wet rocks, snow, slush, like wet paths that we went down that definitely, this probably would have been a good idea. But I had them just in case. I'm not sorry that I brought them. It's a smart thing to bring if you're doing some hiking in Iceland for sure. The last 2 things in my big suitcase are these. Pretty much all my clothes fit into these that you haven't seen yet. Basically my hiking pants. I had 3 pairs of hiking pants that I rotated every day. These that are from Cool. These that are also from Cool. These are like my heavy duty waterproof ones that I wore several times. I probably wore these the most, and they were definitely the best and held up the best. And then, that's another t-shirt and leggings, like kind of casual around the house pants. And then what's on this side? I don't even remember. And we have, this is the hoodie. I had a black hoodie that I wore on my travel day and in Reykjavik the first 2 days and kind of one of the other ending days. Just a black zip-up hoodie, and I wore that around the house as well and while we were hanging out at night. And then back to the second little packing cube. This, there it is. This is my sunscreen. I don't know how it ended up here, and that's why I couldn't find it. But I did get a little bit of a sunburn. I don't know if you can tell anymore, but we had some days really high up on the mountain where we got some sun. Even in the snow, we got a little sunburn. And in the infinity pools, there were some days we had a lot of sun. And so, but I did have a little sunscreen pack that I used. I did have it with me when I needed it, but I still got a little bit of a burn, along with a sunscreen lip balm, which is, I love Sun Bum. This brand is really great. This is like a face stick. And then just a little travel size sunscreen. So this is my sunscreen pouch that somehow ended up in my clothing. When I packed, I just threw things wherever they fit. So you understand. This was my towels, like my little swimming towels and microfiber cloths bag, like for face washing, also for drying off when you get wet, like in your wetsuit and your raincoat. You don't want to put all that back in your bag. You can kind of towel it off with one of these, which is really nice. And then I had my swim towel, which I think is in a different pouch. What is this? This I think is underwear. Okay, let me tell you the story of the underwear. One sec. Okay, let's talk about bras and underwear. This was the first trip where I brought a couple sets of wool, like merino wool bras and underwear. And I will never go back. These changed my life. I brought some regular bras, like regular sports bras that I did not even touch. I did not wear them. I just brought 3 extras of those. And I brought 3 of the wool bras from Brandwin. And I talked about these in my last video. I have a link below if you want to buy one of these, but they are so worth it. No underboob sweat, moisture wicking. They smell fresh every day. You're going to think I'm gross. This is weird, but I was rooming with 2 other girls, like in our little dorm-like rooming situation. And I had them smell my bra after 3 days. Like, this is terrifying, I know, but we're all like, in our hiking mode. And it just seemed like nobody cared. They were like willing to do this. I said, smell my bra. And you could not smell anything after 3 days. It didn't even smell like my deodorant. It smelled like nothing. And I had worn it for 3 days straight through hikes and all kinds of things. And they do not smell. They feel fresh the next day. And if you want to rinse them out, I just had that Dr. Bronner's like all-purpose soap that you can rinse out and use it in the shower and just hang to dry. These things are so comfortable and wonderful. This is the busty bra, even though I'm not busty. This has more coverage and just kind of feels better. It has adjustable straps in the back. I wore the heck out of these bras and they're in perfect shape and so comfortable. They move with you. They feel very comfortable. There's no like rubbing or like, anything. And so I am, after this trip, the biggest fan of merino wool bras and underwear, and the underwear also. I did not wear them as many times because it's different, but I did have 3 pairs of the underwear that are so comfortable. They fit so well. They don't ride up and they're, moisture wicking as well. So like one day I did sit without a sit pad in some wet grass and my pants got wet, but my wool underwear saved me from feeling wet. And while my pants were drying as I was walking, I felt dry just because of my underwear. That sounds weird, but that's what it does. And so it is magical and I'm the biggest fan, and it is this brand called, it says it right here, Brandwin. Sorry, the light is bad in here and you can't see it. And then it says Stay Golden. They're very cute and very comfortable. And this material is like nothing else. You just wash it in cold and line dry. So when I'm home now that I'm unpacking this huge pile of stuff, I'm gonna make a little pile of all my wool things. So that includes my smart wool layers, the buffs, I have a smart wool hat, and then the wool underwear and bras, and I'm gonna put them in a pile. I'm gonna wash them all on cold together, and then I don't dry those. I hang them all to dry just to keep them like at their top peak performance, because you don't wanna dry these. It's just not, you probably can, but I just don't want to. So anyway, that's what I do when I wash these things. I keep them all together, wash them in a load together, just like a little small load in cool water, and then hang them up and you're good to go. But anyway, wool bras, let me tell you, game changer for sure. Anyway, finishing out that little small packing cube is, I had a couple of hats that I did not really wear. I found out it was too windy to wear these. There was one day in the rain, I could have worn this under like my rain jacket to kind of keep the rain out of my face, but I didn't have it with me. Probably didn't need these, but I thought they'd be cute potentially. And then I realized how windy it is there. And then I had the hiking leggings, which I did wear. And I also wore these around the house, like just lounging. But these are like special insulated hiking leggings that I have linked below, Amazon stuff or similar items that I purchased and used. And so that is all the stuff in my big checked bag. Let's move on to the carry-on. And yes, this is a mess and I can't wait to sort it all out and get it into the laundry because this is kind of stressing me out. Okay, checked bag, which is a lot smaller. I packed a lot in these bags, by the way. Those packing cubes really let you fit a lot of stuff in. So does it work? Yes. So here we go. This was my raincoat that I definitely used. We were very lucky and did not have to hike in the rain, but if you're going to waterfalls, and it's probably, usually it rains, and I don't know how it didn't on our trip. It was supposed to, but you're gonna encounter water no matter what in Iceland. So on my bus tour days that we saw waterfalls, I got soaking wet. Just let me say, there was no rain in the forecast. It doesn't matter. The water from the waterfalls, you will get soaked. So I had my trusty rain jacket that packs up in this little cube, which is really nice. And this one has little vents so it can kind of dry out if you're packing it wet, which it might be a little damp. We'll see. But this is just a Marmot raincoat. It is like a legit, real raincoat that really keeps you dry. So I forgot to keep like a phone pouch, like a dry pouch for my phone when I was going to the waterfalls. And I was like, uh-oh, this is bad. But what I did was I wore my Bagu under this raincoat and kind of tucked it in under the rain pants, and it was totally dry, the whole bag. Like, this is the real deal raincoat where it does not let anything through. It is Gore-Tex, which is the magical material that really does work. And it has like these little line zippers that nothing's gonna get through it. And so that's a Marmot raincoat that I definitely wore quite a bit anytime we were going anywhere wet. And it's a warm layer too that helps with the wind, like a windproof layer. Very smart. Then I had a Cotopaxi dry bag that's kind of also now my laundry bag, but I use this for wet swimming suits, other wet clothes. Sometimes I'd stick my wet raincoat in here, you know, kind of hanging outside my backpack, or on the bus I could keep this out away from my other stuff to keep my other things dry. But now it has dirty clothes in it. So this has my swimming suit that I wore multiple times. You could bring 2 swimming suits, but I really only needed 1. You pretty much hang it out every day to dry, and by the next day it's usually pretty dry or close to it, like close enough. So basic black swimsuit. Here's another sock. Some of my hiking pants. The swim towel. This was from IKEA, and I love the swim towel. It's like a microfiber, fast dry, quick dry towel, and it is like full size. It dries really fast and absorbs a lot of water. Here are the sweatpants I wore every single night as my pajamas. They are Viore. They are so soft and comfortable. I wore them in the mornings, and I wore them in the evenings, and I wore them every single day I was there. And they need to be washed. And another sock. I had a plain gray t-shirt in addition to all the black t-shirts. Here's the more of the black t-shirts. I had a lot of the black t-shirts. This Bagu pouch holds all my hand knit sweaters and some of my hand knit accessories. And so I need to get these out and maybe refresh these a little bit. So here's my hat and mittens that I knitted out of Lopi, and I wore this a lot. This was really warm and the perfect thing to wear in the cold wind, and it has little pieces of grass and moss still on it. I should keep that just as part of the, you know, memory. And then I wore my Mosi sweater that I hand knit before I left. This took me 6 months to knit, and I got to wear it in the Icelandic moss that matched this sweater. Very special. I need to do a little TLC though, and do a little defuzzing and like a little maybe wet block and kind of refresh it a little bit and air it out to dry. And then I knitted this hat from Brooklyn Tweed before I left, and I wore that a few times. It was a really nice layer to wear. I had a Sophie scarf that I did not wear. I did not really need it. I had another Peace Fleece hat that I also did not wear. I just kind of kept wearing the same things and kept them in my bag, but these were extras just in case. And then I had my Crowberry sweater, which is knit in Let Lopi from Istex. And I wore this a few times, and it was the perfect, like almost like a sweatshirt mid layer with a base layer underneath. This was perfect. So I got to wear my hand knits, and that was really special. So besides my puffer jacket, that was the Cotopaxi bright colored one, I did bring this tiny little black one as well. And for some reason I felt like I needed this. I wore this a couple days in Reykjavik when I wanted to wear like all black for some odd reason, but it was a good thing I had this because there was a woman there who did not have a puffy coat. And so she borrowed this since I had my other one. And this is just such a small one. It's really packs down small. It's from Uniqlo, and it's their ultra light down. And this is a great little jacket. And so she borrowed this because I brought 2 jackets. Sometimes it's good to be an overpacker. Someone else borrowed something of mine too. What was it? It's not bad to have extra things because somebody might need it. Oh yeah, someone borrowed my mittens. So yeah, overpacking, not bad. And then there's only 2 more things in my carry-on, and they're both very essential. But if you watch my last packing video, you'll see that I kind of wasn't sure about my footwear plan. And I had been breaking in a pair of Danner boots for a few months, but they had been kind of giving me trouble with my one sore foot. I also had some broken toes in the past year that it's like a painful situation. So I really wanted to find my Cinderella boot. And so I did at the last minute. I ordered these La Sportiva boots. They're really dirty now. They were really nice and clean when I left, but they should be. I wore them a lot. These saved my life in so many ways. They did not hurt my foot at all. They were very comfortable right out of the box. I got really lucky. And then they're Gore-Tex. These don't look like maybe the most waterproof boots ever, but they are. I was in snow above, like up to here, really deep snow for a long day, and my feet stayed perfectly dry. In my wool socks, I could not feel a drop of moisture. I could not believe it. My feet were warm, and they have really good traction. I felt like I wasn't gonna slip on the slippery surfaces. These got me through everything, and they were so wonderful. So I got these right before I left on Steep and Cheap. They have like really good sales on certain things, and they just happened to have my size. And I was just like, I'll take a chance on these, and if not, I'll wear the Danners. But I got these. They were perfect. They felt great, and they saved me, and I wore them a ton. I wore these every day for sure. And last but not least, I put my hiking backpack in my carry-on. I wanted to use this as my personal under the seat item, but I didn't think it was gonna fit, and I was afraid they were gonna flag me because it was gonna be too big. And so I just packed this perfectly flat, it pulls down pretty flat, in my carry-on and just put things around it, and it worked great because it fits perfectly in there. And so this is my hiking day pack, and I obviously use this every time we went hiking. It was fantastic. It is pretty waterproof on its own, and we did encounter some weather when I was using it, but I love this backpack. It is from Drop, and it was a special release by Durston. I don't know the whole story behind this, but my husband found this on Facebook Marketplace. It happened to be exactly my size, and it was the perfect pack for this trip. We needed a 30 to 50 liter backpack, and I think it's a 40 liter. It was just right. It has a little fold down dry pouch at the top and all the pockets like around here as well. So I love this backpack, and I'm really happy to have it, and I used it a ton, and I love it. So that's everything in the 2 suitcases. I just have my Cotopaxi backpack that I used as like my personal item on the plane. And I also used this like when we went to the Blue Lagoon, and when I went on a little day hiking tour of like the waterfalls and everything on the bus tour, I took this with me, and I just used this in a lot of different scenarios. I knew I would use the heck out of this, and I did. And then I put it under the seat on the plane in front of me as well, and it was just perfect. So I use this backpack a lot in my normal day-to-day life, and so I knew it would be the perfect thing. It holds a lot, has a lot of pockets, it's great. So I have no idea what's in here anymore because I just shoved things in. And I didn't have a lot with me at the airport, but I did have my passport, essential. Another little mini charger that I love this thing. It just plugs into the bottom of your phone. It doesn't have a whole bunch of cords or anything. It doesn't charge it like super far. It gives it one full charge, but that's all I needed on the plane. You do have to have now though, your charger banks on you. So I guess they're in here too, because there's a new rule. You cannot check those anymore because they were having fires. And so that's like a new rule if you're flying soon. And then I had Advil because I was having a lot of headaches at the end, which was not fun, but typical because it was elevation changes and weather changes, and that's what makes me have headaches. Then, oh yes, Birkenstocks. I brought the flip-flops. I was undecided on this, and I actually used them quite a bit, so I was not sad that I brought these. I use these on some of the geothermal pool days, even over like Smartwool socks. You can wear these around. And then I also, and on the way home, I wore them. So I wore my boots, the low top hiking boots on the plane. I don't even see them anymore in this giant pack. These, I wore these home because I didn't want to pack all this stuff. But then I put these in my backpack, and, you know, for 6 hours of, you know, flying, and you're just, it's kind of warm. It was nice to slip those off and put my feet in these, and I could like walk to the bathroom and just be more comfortable. And so I did use these in a lot of different situations. Some people will say don't bother bringing these, but I honestly use them quite a bit, even in my hotel. I don't know, they're not like outdoorsy shoes really, but they were nice to have for walking around the hotel or for the geothermal pools and other situations. So I say bring them if you can fit them in. Then I had my pouch for my charging banks, and one of my power converter things, and yeah, that kind of stuff. So another tech bag. And I brought sleep gummies. These did help me sleep on the plane on the way home. I really needed to rest so badly. I was so tired at the end of this trip that this was kind of a lifesaver. So I just kept that in my backpack with me. Turtle pillow. What are your thoughts on this? I'm kind of like not so sure. It kind of helps. It wraps around your neck and Velcros. It's kind of warm is the thing. And it kind of helps, but you have to be at like an angle. And then I was just sleeping on the little Delta pillow, like I had a window seat. So I just kind of did that. But I kind of used this on the way there, totally forgot about it on the way back. It was inside my bag. And I just like, I don't know. I'm undecided on the value of the turtle pillow, but tell me your thoughts. Do you love him? Do you hate him? Tell me. Souvenir, forgot I got this at the airport. It's from the hot dog stand in Reykjavik. It is a very famous hot dog stand. I think this means the best hot dogs in town. I thoroughly enjoyed the hot dogs in Reykjavik, and so I thought I would pick up one of these on the way back. Since 1937. They're really good hot dogs. And I had a really small bag of my airplane knitting in case I felt like knitting, but I really just wanted to sleep, and so that is what I did. I forgot to talk about this, but I did the tax-free documents. What is it called? Tax-free shopping. If you spend some money at some of the stores, a certain amount, you can take this with your receipts to the airport and get some money back. So it's tax-free shopping. I'll let you know how this goes because this takes some time. You submit your things and then they like credit your account later. And I'm not sure if it's worth it or not, but I did it at the airport because they gave me the receipt and I thought I would give it a try. They give you all the instructions in here of how it works and what to do and where to go in the airport. And there's a little pocket here and the store stamps your receipt and gives you whatever. And then you just take it, and I did it and I have no idea, but I'll let you know. I have a little candy bar in here from the Delta flight. It's little, you see these Icelandic candy bars in every shop that you go in, and I haven't actually tried one yet, so maybe I'll share it with my kids, but I did bring home some candy and treats for us to try. But this is something I'll put with that little stash of goodies. Here's my kind of master clump of chargers and the converter that I just threw in my backpack in case I need to charge anything. But yeah, I just threw this in because I needed to get going and I wanted to have my chargers with me just in case. Another pair of socks that I previously worn, but thought maybe, because I was wearing compression knee-high socks that do kind of get hot sometimes, but they're very good for while you fly. But I brought a pair of shorties just in case I wanted to change out of those. And then my AirPods in my little Bagu case. Definitely listened to some podcasts as I was trying to sleep. And another charger, a lot of those. And my medicine bag. So this had my Dramamine, my Pepto-Bismol, my Advil, Tylenol, whatever kind of stuff I needed. And yeah, mostly Dramamine. Motion sickness is not fun. I did bring a couple of face masks for the plane especially, and there was a lot of people coughing a lot on both of my plane rides. So I did end up wearing this mask both ways, different points in time, like where the coughing got excessive and everybody was like, what the heck? Like looking around like, who travels with that bad of a cough? I luckily did not get sick, but I was very paranoid, especially on the way there. Like, you do not want to be sick on this trip you've planned for months and months. And so it's better to be safe than sorry. I always bring masks wherever I go. You never know when you might feel like you need one. And so I was glad I had these. And the last thing in my trusty backpack was a sit pad from my husband who does outdoorsy stuff all the time. This is a really small little lightweight one that you can sit on if the grass is wet or if you're in a wet environment, and it just saves your pants from getting all wet. And that is everything I brought with me to Iceland. I used everything here. Hold on, let me show you. So yes, here is the mess surrounding me, the unpacking aftermath, and the things I need to throw in the laundry. But did I use it all? I did. I used everything except for my trekking poles and the boot gaiters. I could have used both though. I mean, they're not a bad thing to pack. But the main thing you need is rain gear, rain pants, and a raincoat that are very reliable. Waterproof boots, huge. That can save your entire day and definitely your entire trip. You need to take care of your feet. And then layers. I use those black t-shirts every single day, my base layers every single day, and then all the layers in between. You're gonna need to layer up, and then you need to take things off. And that is just, the weather changes all day, every day. The wind, the rain, the cold, and then it gets sunny and warm. And so just be prepared for anything, because we, like I said, ran into snow and everything in between on these 10 days in June in Iceland. So be ready for it. I don't think overpacking is a bad thing. And if you think this is overpacking, go ahead, I understand. But I used everything I brought multiple times. I have no shame. I had the time of my life. It was such a fantastic trip. So many adventures, so many things I'd never seen or done before, and I felt very well prepared. And so I hope this video was a little bit helpful if you're planning a trip to Iceland. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, if you want to know anything, if there's anything. I can't think of anything, honestly, that I didn't bring that I ended up wishing I had. I'm trying to think if there's anything, but I think I had everything I needed, and there was never a day where I was like, ooh, I wish I'd brought this, because I think I brought everything I needed. But I had researched here on YouTube. I'd watched so many Iceland packing videos. I can't even tell you. If you've made one, I watched it, I promise you. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for hanging out with me as I unpack, and now I'm gonna go do some laundry. Please like and subscribe. I have a whole series of Iceland videos that you can watch, and then go back and watch my packing for Iceland video if that would be helpful for you as well, because I go through everything in detail that I packed, because I just skimmed over some things like my toiletries and all that stuff. There's more. If you're looking for that kind of information, it's there. So check out that video if you want. But like and subscribe for other Iceland content. And then I'm also a knitter, and so I hand knit a lot of things like in my normal life, and that's kind of why I went on this trip. It's a long story, but yeah, thanks for hanging out. Please take care, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.